homophobic. My podcast is gay. Good morning. Episode 3, we're on.
We are on. For the people on YouTube and Spotify, this is probably the first podcast I do without a hat on.
Where else would people be than Spotify and YouTube?
Amazon.
That third one?
Yeah, Amazon. So you can see my receding hairline, and I've seen it. I have a lot of gray hair coming in. Look.
But you got a fresh fade.
Of course, bro. Keep it
That's
fresh.
why you have the confidence to just be like, whip it.
No, because
I'll put that head away and just be me, man. No, nice fade. Just take your headphones off quickly. Shows the fresh fade. Shit. Yeah. How often do you go to the barber?
When I was younger, I used to go like every
2 days.
No. For one, like summer, I went every week, and then every 2 weeks. But now it's like almost every 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 weeks or a month.
With the buska, you always need to.
You have to, otherwise you look
For
sleepy.
me, 2 weeks is I need to go every 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
If I'm 3 weeks, it's okay, but I'm like, yeah, I need a haircut.
Do you still have the bleached hair?
No, long gone. But I might do it for our documentary trip. I might do it again, just for fun.
I thought about doing this.
Yeah?
But I don't think it would look good on me.
Man, I
don't
didn't
have
think
enough,
either. But
I don't have
man,
enough hair.
remember, it's gone in 3 to 4 weeks. So
Yeah, that's true.
even if it looks shit, who cares?
Yeah. And you can rap like Eminem.
We can. Oh, we should have done it for the start of season 2.
Oh, that would be
just
nice.
season 2, both bleached hair. Shit.
That would be sick.
We're gonna do it one time together.
Yeah.
We should do it.
Yeah.
I did it with a professional last time.
Oh, you have to, I think, because otherwise it might look like shit, no?
But if you bleach it, you can't really go wrong. It's gonna bleach. Yes, it might look a bit yellow, but even if, who cares?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just expensive.
So this podcast
3
episode
weeks.
is about hair.
Yes, receding hairlines and fades.
No, but I hope all is well. Thank you for everyone who's listening to the previous podcast.
Mhm.
I hope you liked the podcast with Davide.
Mhm.
It was very interesting.
Oh, that was so cool. We're lying.
We're lying.
We're lying.
We're lying.
Because, yeah, tell them.
Because we're recording in batch, and we're recording the podcast just after this one, so we don't.
So
know
yeah,
yet.
Davide is only gonna come like in about.
But I'm sure it's pretty.
In about 30 minutes,
30
he's gonna be
minutes
here,
he's gonna be
and
here.
then we're gonna record the episode you was able to
You were listening to
last week already.
Yeah, but it was a good
So
one.
yeah, we are breaking the time space.
Yeah.
Continuum.
There's no timeline in Club That Slate.
No.
It's just like a continuous.
We're
shit
traveling
show.
the future and the past. We're just going back and forth.
Yeah, we do that Marvel kind of shit here.
But yeah, we are excited how well you found
Yeah.
the podcast in the knowing in the future. Yeah,
dude, that's some Inception kind of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but leave
Nolan,
us.
take this.
Do an episode and do a movie about us, Nolan. No, but tell us if you liked it. I hope you did. This is something we're really excited about, and
give us feedback how you thought
Yeah.
we managed with another person. What else you would like to see more?
what we can do better.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because we're gonna have a lot more people on now.
Yeah, we're gonna
Because
get
we
better at
accept
this
the-
anyways. Moving on.
Mm. But also, we're talking about something else. This topic.
Yeah.
What are we talking
Episode
about?
3 is about keeping things as simple as possible on set.
Yeah.
This is something when you first start into the filmmaking industry, when you first start maybe just getting interested in the filmmaking industry, like starting to YouTube, like how to use cameras and stuff, things can get overwhelming very, very, very fast. And I think you can see that a lot if you watch a lot of YouTube and like people in the filmmaking space where they show, for instance, rigs, like camera rigs or stuff. It always looks super complicated and like monster rig, or like very not built for on-set performances, but more like just like look, I would say, for some reasons.
Yeah.
And this is something you learn as you go, how to keep things as simple as possible for the sake of efficiency, practicability, and just like moving on as fast as possible.
And also, I think it's not really learning, I assume. It's more like having the confidence to know what you really need to get the images or the for the story you want to tell.
Yeah.
What you really need and what is just extra weight or extra looks or extra pain in
Exactly.
the ass.
Exactly.
And I think at the beginning you don't know that. You see these other people creating these wonderful things that you like, and you
Yeah.
want to you look up to them and you want to do stuff just as they do.
Yeah.
And you assume, okay, they have this stuff, so I think I need that stuff. And as you learn, as you get better, you just realize, okay, it's not really that stuff that makes it better.
Is understanding everything. But the keep it simple mentality, I think, applies to every single job that's going on set.
Yeah.
During a shoot day. Whereas it's the camera department, whereas it's the light department or the grip department. You know, like keeping things as simple and as efficient as possible is paramount in our industry. Because most of the time now budgets are getting smaller and smaller for some reasons, or the client is expecting more for the budget. So time is of the essence, and you have to move through the shot list not as fast as possible, but as quickly as possible, getting the shots you need, obviously, but like moving on from shot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if you have a rig that's preventing you from, moving quickly, or like if the gaffer and his team are doing all this crazy thing just to achieve a look that could be achievable a different way.
And take 4 times the time.
Take four times, and it's not going to work, and you're probably not going to get hired for the next job. I think keeping it simple is, because when I suggested this topic, I was talking mainly about the 2 things that I'm involved with the most, which is the camera and the lighting, sort of. And I don't know if you've noticed, but especially we already mentioned the camera rigs that you start building up and stuff, you don't really understand what parts are made for what. Why do you need a matte box for? Do you need a matte box all the time? Aren't you better off using maybe variable NDs for some stuff? And I think this is a big a bad, how can I say that? A bad influence. Yeah, kind of a misconception. But like when you first start, when you see all these YouTube videos and like you see professionals on set and stuff, you see these big rigged out cameras that will do nothing good for you, as you mentioned, because you don't know how to use the equipment.
They can do the same as your DSLR.
Yeah, exactly.
If you
exactly,
or 95%, they do the same. It
So
just
how
makes stuff easier and more reliable, or
100%. So how do you approach like building your camera from shoot to shoot? Like how do you know what you need and what you don't need?
Well, I'm not a good advocate in terms of camera build, because I have my camera built I don't take my camera apart.
Oh, you
my
don't?
camera is set up.
Okay, cool.
For 90% of my shoots, I have it the same, because I already have a very small camera with the Z-cam with the body, and I don't rig it out I have a base plate, I have rods on there. I usually use a matte box. Just mainly for me, it's protection, because it's much easier than to protect the lens by just closing the flag than having to lose these lens caps and stuff. And sometimes I use filters, of course, but it's basically very simply rigged out, so I can use it for 90% of my jobs. So I don't really do that.
You don't take it apart.
But see, like, I keep it simple from the begin with as much as I can. And if I really need it, then I'll find a way to do it on my rig. And if no, then I'll rent out another camera. Or I try to keep it simple all the time. Yeah. From the begin with. And I think,
let's say you have an indoor shoot like the one we did the other day, like an indoor shoot. So everything is indoor. You have one first AC who's going to be pulling focus. What can you go through, like the rig? Like what would be on your camera?
Yeah, I can. So I would have a body. I would have a base plate, of course. I would have a since the Z-cam in my example doesn't accept V-mounts, I would have a converter to V-mount, so I can put a V-mount on there. I will have a lens, a top handle. On the top handle, there's a monitor, kind of the style where how Red is doing it. They have the monitor straight on the body.
Oh yeah.
And you can just
tilt it
exactly. I'll have a side handle, and I record straight to SSDs for my.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So I have an SSD holder on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll have a side handle. What else is on there? I'll have on the rods. There's gonna be a focus motor, and that is plugged into the V-mount. Is there anything else on there? Like a matte box I mentioned already.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on the lens, I'll have a lens support. Depending on how big, how heavy the lens is, I'll put a lens support on the rods. I think that's it.
Yeah.
I might forget something, but
wireless video, if you need some.
I don't use it. I mean, for the AC, yes. If we have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is pretty like the standard basic thing, and I think this would, as you
for
said,
95%, it's enough.
I would do the same. The only thing is that I take apart my camera like all the time, and I try to rebuild it pretty badly, to be honest, because I'm very bad at rigging. But I try to rebuild it, taking into consideration some of the shoots, stuff that I have to like make sure to have maybe wireless video for the client or the focus puller and stuff like this. But other than that, like our rigs are pretty similar, and I never really felt the need to have something bigger than this. Sometimes I'll just have a tentacle on this if we sync. But other than that, I think that rig would fit 95% of what I do. The only thing that I'm trying to like optimize now is the handling of the camera situation. Because so far with the Komodo, because like I shoot mainly on the Komodo is kind of awkward to rig. Because you don't have a lot of real estate in terms of places where you can rig stuff up. And I also like to be able to just go from sticks to easy rig to handheld. I don't do a lot of shoulder because I'm too tall for this, but I like handheld and stuff. So this is something I'm still trying to get right, is how to make this rig as efficient as possible without too many cables, without too many stuff to take off and on depending on like your shooting style. I think this is something you have to take into consideration as well when you think about keeping it simple, is that on shoot you don't have the luxury most of the time to like take stuff apart. So if you go from shoulder to like easy rig to sticks, it has to be like a swift motion. And this is one of the reasons as well why I don't use matte boxes unless I really have to, just because I feel like the screw-on filters are more efficient just in my workflow. The filter quality is not as great, but you can get I would kind of stay away from the variable just because of the color shift, like the vignetting. But like you get good like screw-on filters. I think it's as good as
and also they're much cheaper.
They're much cheaper, but like the cost aside, just like in terms of like when you swap lenses, you don't have to take the matte box off. If the matte box is on rods, you don't have to like take it out. You know, like it's I don't know. I try to keep it as simple as possible.
But also going away from just gear and cameras. I think this applies to anything in filmmaking, any procedure, any task, any department. Keeping it simple, it's really something that a lot of struggle with. And it's really something that we're trying to achieve every time. And because I see no,
go ahead.
Because I see a lot of, especially on YouTube, you see a lot of very talented people that learned by themselves, I'm not going to try. Learn by themselves on YouTube mostly as well, and that are now teaching other people what they learned and how they do stuff. And I see some things all over the time that where I just see people creating amazing things, and then a lot of time filmmakers, YouTubers show how they did that, and it's such a simple setup, such a simple like a one-man crew even, and it looks like it could be big budget some things, and I'm always amazed, and it's really something I'm trying to strive for, because it is getting much easier with all the gear. Imagine what cameras can do now. For like a camera that costs $2,500, what you can do with it is limitless. And forgetting that, it's just dumb. Why? Like also lights. Look, we have this one light tube light over our heads. That's it. It's battery powered. I mean, what else do you need? It's insane what you can do.
Yeah, accessibility to great gear and like really gear that is thought for smaller crews as well, not like 18Ks and stuff like this when you need like 5 people to put them up, but like smaller lights and stuff. I think it makes everything much easier.
And I see that on big budgets too.
Oh,
on big budget commercials, people are using aperture lights. I mean,
especially
lights
since they have the 1200. Since they have the 1200, I think it's.
But also the small ones, also the flex lights that they have, the F21C, F22C.
Yeah.
I see them all the time on big budgets, just to like as a fill light or as a hair light. It's on there, and of course for a lot of people it's like, oh, these are expensive lights, but if you compare them to real like film lights from 10 years ago,
or even like top of the line film lights from
still
nowadays,
that's true, like an Airy Sky panel, like it's not even comparable.
Yeah,
it's like apples and pears. It has nothing to do with it.
But it's funny to talk about lighting, because I think lighting is one of the department where you can waste a lot of time if you don't do things like in a simple way.
But that's the thing, you can do lighting, you can do in 1,000 ways. There's no two ways to do it. Like no two people would do it the same way.
But going back to the YouTube space and like sort of like beginner trying to teach people, like people that are just YouTube. It's good to be a YouTuber, but just working on YouTube videos and stuff. I kind of feel like it's a style, so I'm not judging. But when you translate this to the commercial world, I think they tend to overlight sort of in a way that is very unnatural, which is a look, and that might be the look you go for. But on most commercials, when you try to achieve more neutral, maybe more high end, like not Hollywood, but like filmic look. Most of the time you take out the lights and you just try to make sure you have a big source of light, some neck fill, a bounce, and then it's all practicals and art department basically. So I think this is the biggest thing when you transition from like just doing videos for your friends and in your YouTube studio to essentially like a transition to like a bigger set where people actually know what they're doing. The tools change a little bit. You have 6x, 8x and stuff, and you have more powerful lights. But at the end of the day, I think the amount of lights that is being used is less than like some people use in YouTube videos, for instance. And that's something that's very fascinating to me, because I don't know where this trend came in. I just think that now gear is so accessible that having more gear is perceived as being more professional, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas it's not the case at all. Like I can get a nicer lighting from a shower curtain and like a big window, as opposed to like if I had maybe a 1200 and just like a softbox, for instance.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the crazy thing about creating images, is that the gear doesn't really matter. Gear does matter in terms of like practicability, how it helps you move from point A to point B, how it achieves you to get the image you want. But gear doesn't have to be complicated. For instance, the diffusion we use is just like baking paper.
Yes.
And this works better than any softbox that we could get for this light tube, for instance.
I mean, there is really expensive paper that you can buy. Yeah. But it's gonna be doing 95% the same. Yeah. So it costs 95% more.
How much is it worth it? But I think keeping it simple as well, in terms of so we talked about the gear, we talked about camera, we talked about lighting, we can talk about lots of stuff, but also in terms of when you do commercial, like I'm not talking about narrative, but commercials in like the shorter form content. Also in terms of location, storytelling, story and stuff.
Everything, the whole way.
The simpler, the easier it's going to get to get the message across. The easier it's going to be to, find location, move the crew from A to B and stuff like this. And I think this is, again, we often say when you first start, but when you first start, you always have this grand ideas of like things that you have to be in different locations to make it look good and stuff. But no, you don't. You just have need to have a great story to like convey the message, find a great location, and just work around it.
And honestly, once you have a lot of experience, you will know when simple is not enough. You will know, I need more for this. For me to be able to tell this story, to make this film, I really need this, and that. Yeah. It's not enough the simple way, which I might have done 2 years ago,
But
or whatever.
The simple way
You'll know.
The simple way changes depending on the job you're on.
Of course.
The simple way on a 20%, like a 20% crew job on a 5-day shoot is different from like a 3% crew on a 1-day shoot. But I think like if everybody keeps in mind, we need to achieve the best quality possible, but we also need to understand the limitations we have in terms of budget, timing, crew, and also understand that it's better to be able to get 96% there and be able to move from point A to point B rather than like doing all this extra stuff that get the 4% more and like basically messes up the whole schedule for the entire day. And I have a story about this. I think it was Clint Eastwood on the shoot with, I think it was Matt Damon or something. I don't know. Okay. Someone with Clint Eastwood. And so the actor, I don't know who he was, like did a scene one time. And Clint said, okay, I think they said, check the gate. Like it's over. Let's move on. And the actor was like, oh, can we do it one more time? I think like we can change something. And Clint said, why, do you want to waste everybody's time? So I can either reshoot this, spend another hour and a half, I think it was Clint Eastwood. Anyways, another hour and a half to make this 4% better, or I can move on, stay on schedule. We don't have to pay everybody overtime at the end of the day, and no one is going to care about the 4% or 5%. Right. And I think this is a mindset, ever since I heard this is a mindset I'm trying to get. Getting things perfect is great, but it's not realistic all the time. Yeah. So that's why.
What is even perfect? I mean, that's a whole nother topic.
No, it's perfect. Completely subjective, and this is very like what's perfect for you, it's not perfect for someone else. So whatever.
And also, what I said before, this kind of like you'll know when you need more than just the simple way. Yeah. You know, sometimes you do. It's true. Sometimes you just need this other location. You need this one shot. Yeah. And you know it needed especially the way that you have intentioned, but I think a lot of times we think we need more. We think, oh, we can do more and this, and then we overthink, and then we have to, we need more and we can't do it yet, or we'll do another day, and you overcomplicate things, and in the end, it's just with experience you'll know. Yeah. And I think just for me, if I could tell myself something in the beginning, just do it, because I had this light, just going out, just doing, not even thinking, because I didn't know. So just taking photos, just filming, whatever, and having fun. And then once you really step in this whole passion, you're like, oh, I want to do nice things. Oh, I want to step up. I want to get better. And then comes this pressure, and then comes this overthinking. At least for me, it was this way. And then all the time you want to get better, and I can't do it yet because if I could get this camera and this light, then I can even do it better, and I'll just wait till this person has time, and then we are more, and you never do it. And I think going back to it, look, we have what we have. It's you can always make it better. You can always wait for another better timing of the sun and whatever, and realizing that helps just easing off and also enjoying more at the end of the day.
For sure,
not overthinking.
And to bounce back on what you're saying, I think like I've watched some of the past, like the previous work that I did, and when I had less people on set, and then I had also, I think, less gear, like less access to gear, and I look back at this and I'm like, this looks very good, and I really like the vibe to it, and because the whole shoot was completely different. We didn't have to wait 45 minutes for the grip and gaffers to like do their things. We were moving very fast, and you know, the whole vibe with the actors and stuff was completely different than on the bigger set. So I think it's nice to find the balance and do like both, and bring a little bit of your experience you have on like bigger sets, how to you know, shape light and stuff, and bring it back to like a more indie kind of stuff. And I don't know, it's nice to balance these out, you know. Maybe you have a passion project, you have one day you have to shoot like this 2-minute thing, you'll just do it, whatever, no matter what. And
I mean, at the end, you're doing what you love. You know, you love creating, you love shooting things. What does it matter if you're 20 people or 3? At the end, you're creating. Of course, you want to step up and you want to create bigger things, and you can. Yeah. But that doesn't mean you need to throw everything away that's smaller and like, oh, this is not.
No,
you know,
for sure not.
It's it's kind of, but going back to the roots where you came from. It's fun. You enjoy it. Why not?
Yeah, 100%.
And you can create really nice things still, especially these days.
Dude, the gear, the cameras and stuff we have access to is ridiculous now.
Yeah. And I'll only start to realize this slowly because I started with digital. I mean, film cameras were already gone. Like digital came up really fast when I started. So for me, it's like it's kind of how do you say? It's normal. It's
a given.
Yeah, it's a given. I don't know it any other way. But when
and
I
then you
start
try to
realize
shoot
how
8mm one day, and then you have to wait freaking.
Also lights. I mean, we were on a set together. I gaffed for Romain, and we had all aperture lights.
Yeah.
Like from
we had
the
all of them.
I mean, almost.
We had 12, 6,
1200, 600, 300, 200X. We had.
Oh, we didn't have the 120s.
Yeah,
no.
But I mean, almost. We had like the whole thing. We had MCs. I don't know if you use them.
I don't know.
But we had like the whole palette of lights there, and it was so easy. Yeah. It was just a trunk of a car, of a regular car.
That's crazy.
Super easy, and we shot. So I don't know how we would have done that 15 years ago.
We would have had I think it was like a 16-person crew. Like for gaff, we were 3.
What do you mean by 16% crew?
Everybody was 16 people on set, I think.
Oh, that's how you go? Like 16% is 16 people?
No, 16%. 16 people were on set. Yeah. If we had old lights and stuff, we would have had to be like 25 probably.
Yeah.
Most likely.
Yeah. And we would have taken so much more time and bigger cars, and we had to rent like big.
And I'm not even sure the location we were in would have been able to fit all these
I don't
things.
think they would have been happy bringing because everything would be so heavy, and we would scratch the walls, and because
all right.
Keep it simple, back to the roots, enjoy what you're doing, and don't overthink.
Yeah, don't overthink, just do it. And then maybe it's going to be shit, but then you'll know why, and then you'll change that for the next project.
When you've done it 10 times, then you know exactly what you need when, at what point. Yeah.
Don't do shit things 10 times though, because no, learn from your mistakes.
Yeah.
And
but you'll know, you automatically. Know. Don't overthink that you're going to make a mistake. You are, and it's okay.
It is beautiful. Okay. It is okay. That was a nice ending.